pass it that way. All right. The Board of Education meeting is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excuse me. Secretary Ristich, will you please take roll call? All right. We're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. Unless there are objections, the agenda will be approved as printed. Are we good? All right. We will move on to public comment now. We will now take public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board before we start? Okay. Moving right along. And we will now move to our superintendent interviews.
All right,
And
here we
invite
go.
our first candidate.
Thank you.
I believe that
Game time.
I just went to go get him. Mr. Pasquale Cusumano.
Call my name. Is
Where
that?
is
Am I going right here? Okay.
Cusumano? Okay, thank you.
Hi. Hello. How are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hello. How are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yep. Nice to meet you. Yep. Thank you.
Before we get started, please note, members of the audience, if you wish to provide feedback, you may complete the feedback form following each interview, and after completion, they will be distributed to all the board members. We will now proceed to our interview of Mr. Pasquale Cusumano. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
Oh,
Perfect.
excellent,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
All right, well, welcome. Thank you for being with us today. We have had the opportunity to review your resume. Please tell us what specifically interests you in the Waterford Superintendency and how your background and experiences make you a good fit to be our next superintendent.
I promise I'm not texting. I'm using this for my timing. So just to be transparent. No, thank you so much. It's so nice to be here in person. I feel like I know all of you by name and by face, by watching board meetings and researching the district, but it's really nice to be here in person. So thank you for the opportunity. I have to start with my why. I always start with my why. I've had 22 amazing years as an educator, starting in the classroom and then leading my way through leadership. It's a blessing. And I have to start by giving my parents kudos because they were immigrants from Italy who moved here for a better world for my brother and me. And they wanted us to have the educational opportunities that they never had or wasn't important in that time. So I owe that to them or else I wouldn't be here today. So then I became a teacher. And why I became a teacher is because my teachers, my coaches, made an impact on my life and inspired me. They provided confidence for my brother and I, opportunities, endless opportunities for my family, and the dream came true that my parents were wishing for us. So I became a Spanish teacher. It started there, and why I became a Spanish teacher? Because my high school Spanish teacher, Senora Chapman, made a huge impact on my life, and it didn't hurt that my wife is from Argentina, and we were high school sweethearts. So learning Spanish had a couple multiple things for me. So I had a great time teaching. Building relationships with students was my number one priority. Working with my colleagues, I never felt alone. I always had people around me to help me. And then I started coaching. The reason why I started coaching, because coaching after I graduated from high school, you can tell I'm not the status student athlete, but I loved playing sports. I was a leader, captain, but I didn't play at the next level, and I started coaching. My coaches inspired me, and then I started coaching when I graduated, and that solidified the deal that is what I need to do in life, is become a teacher and a coach, and whatever that leads to. So through those experiences, I was able to gain leadership opportunities from my admin team who saw something in me to say, you're really good at this. Go get your degree. Go get an master's. Go do this. Be NCA chair. And I was just always in the main office seeing what I could get my hands on as a teacher. So I was afforded the opportunity to do a 1-year special assignment in central office as I taught half the day. And they put me in charge of a state audit for the ESL, English as a Second Language program. I did not have any experience with that, but now I see that they put me in that spot to gain leadership opportunity, and they saw something in me that I could grab a large group of people and work with district teachers and pull that all together, and I learned a lot about the district at that time. I was afforded the opportunity to be an assistant principal at a middle school, assistant principal at a high school, and I ended the last 7 years as a principal at Adams High School, and in my first year as assistant superintendent of secondary education. Throughout all that experience, relationships, building trust, and inspiring others to do the same that people inspired me to do was the key factor of my success. And I'm passionate about making others around me the best they can be: students, staff, and community, parents. So that's that. And then why Waterford? I am so excited to be here. This has been pulling at my heartstrings since you guys posted in the fall. And I'm very excited to be here. I believe in things happen for a reason, and I'm excited that you guys chose me to be here. But number one, you guys are student-centered. I watch your board meetings, things that stick out to me. The students that presented about the salmon project in the river and how excited you guys were about being part of that. That speaks volumes for your focus. Students. You start every board meeting with focusing on highlighting students and staff and achievements. That speaks volumes, and I'm attracted to that. That's what I'm all about. I'm very excited about your strategic plan and bond work that I see going on. The goals focused on students, focused on providing staff with endless possibilities. Your investment in early childhood education at the Sabansky Center. That's saying that you guys believe in starting early and getting our kids the best education possible to go through to be as successful as possible. So, and then there's tons of other ones, the $4 million investment in curriculum, the $12 million in technology that teachers and students have interactive things in their hands to be engaged, one-to-one Chromebooks. It's just great work that's exciting to be a part of. And I'm really excited about all the programming you offer. I'm all about servicing all students, and you guys have services from birth through to age 26, from special education to alternative education to STEM. It's just exciting to see your investment in that, and I hope to be part of that.
All right, well, thank you. All of our board members will now ask questions in a round-robin format. I will turn over the mic to Trustee McGregor for the next question.
Please share an example of a time you have led a sustained multi-year improvement initiative, such as a strategic plan. Be specific regarding the situation, the task at hand, your specific role, and the outcome.
Great, thank you. You mentioned strategic plan, and I've been fortunate to have experience in multiple strategic plans, from ground zero to initiation to the end of it. And we just and I'll go back. We did a 2020 strategic plan in Rochester, and we just completed that, and we just created our new one, and we just started that this year, the strategic plan 2024. So I've had multiple roles. I've been an assistant principal and a principal, and now an assistant superintendent in different phases of the strategic plan. But strategic planning is the roadmap. It's getting all stakeholders, and that's been an amazing process. The community creates that. It's not the Board of Education, it's not the superintendent's strategic plan, it's Waterford's public school strategic plan. It gives a focus, it gives a direction. I've been part of very large, comprehensive public schools in Utica and in Rochester, very large. And systemness and cohesion is really important. And I feel that in any district, but it's a little bit more difficult in larger districts when you have multiple high schools, multiple middle schools, 15 elementaries, and a bunch of things going on. So that is a key for the strategic plan. My role, I was able to be part of, from initiation, creating the goal areas with parents, with students, with admin, looking at what the survey results from stakeholders, what they wanted, what they needed, what they thought the district needed to improve on, to leading committee work. Then as a building principal, in a large district like that, you have to divvy up the work, and so you bring in the community. So I led those committees, started working on some things, implementing them, and then as a building principal, my question was always to my staff and to my administrative team: how does this tie to our strategic plan? Right? Okay, you guys, we want to do this. What does the data say? does it fit into our goal area? Does it fit into what we're trying to do as a district? So that's been pretty awesome doing that. And then leading into that, another initiative, the bond work. Such a great experience. When I first got to Rochester, we were doing the strategic plan, and we were ready to go for a bond. It was the bond 2020. We passed a $190 million bond, and I was able to be part of that. I was on the committee of working on campaigning with the parents as they were working on that, and I was able to give a voice from the administrative side, working on communicating out to the community of the importance of this bond and how it's going to support our strategic plan. It's exciting to do that because there's a lot of good stuff coming. And then to the implementation as a building leader, working with my staff, providing professional development, and working on those goals together. And in a large district, the key was working with my administrative colleagues from the other 2 high schools, from the other 4 middle schools, right? Working together, not working in silos. That was a huge success for us. So there was good outcomes there. And then now as a strategic plan, now that I'm an assistant superintendent, I'm in a different role. I'm not in a building, so I am leading in a different way. I am overseeing committees with leaders running the work, and me being hands-on but hands-off, and me overseeing and kind of supporting where necessary and making sure that we're aligned. But I still ask the same question. How does this align to the strategic plan? Where are we? What are we doing? And making sure there's a systemness to that. So in Waterford, I'm excited to see your strategic plan. I know you're in the 3rd year, I believe. It started in 2021. It goes to 2026. And your bond work in 2020, passing the $160 million bond to support all your initiatives. It's very exciting to see the work you're doing. I would be honored to continue that work with you and then build on to the future of the next strategic plan or the next iteration of a bond if needed. So, thank you.
As our superintendent, how would you work to ensure and enhance the sustainability and reputation of our district?
Okay, I think, this is vital to the success of a district. Obviously, looking forward into the future, sustainability. But, as a superintendent, I would be your champion, your advocate, your chief ambassador, the person who's out there championing public education, and especially Waterford School District. And I've done that in every district that I'm in, champion what we are all about. Like I said, I'm a product of it. My kids are a product of public schools, and it gives a lot of opportunities. So sustainability, I think of the future. I think of advocating at the local, state, and legislative arenas to make sure that we are being supported financially, with funding, with programs, to be able to do the good things that we're doing for kids. I think that's number one that comes to my mind was sustainability. I would meet and make connections with the city supervisors, the township supervisors that are in our area, the local legislators, the senator, the governor. That wouldn't be my primary focus, but that is important because we want them in to see the good work we're doing so they can be voices for us. So that would be one of the big jobs for me as for sustainability. I think of keeping in the loop with all the legislation that's coming from the government, from the local, from MDE, with our cabinet team to make sure we're protecting our district and making sure we're in compliance and making sure we can take advantage of any funds out there, grants or anything to help our kids get programs or do well. I think also I'm currently our district is currently in a master property planning or facility usage process. It's been a really awesome, eye-opening first time for me in my 22 years of doing this, is looking 5 years down the line. And for sustainability, I think that's important for the board and for the superintendent and for the leadership to look 5 years out. What's our student enrollment look like? What is our building facility usage percentage? Do we have room to grow? Do we have to make other decisions? So I think that's important for sustainability as well. Reputation, I think you guys have done a great job. Everybody I talked to and I was considering of putting my hat in the ring here is all good things. Student-centered, what I said before, I'm not going to repeat them, but student-centered, advocating for public education, working together, a healthy board of education who supports the staff and the students and the leadership. I think that's where it starts, to build that, to carry on that culture, because culture to me is the most important thing with reputation. And it starts with our internal people, right? If our internal people, from bus drivers to custodians to teachers to paras to secretaries, everybody in our organization has a part in this organization, feels valued and respected, and they speak that out loud to everybody else, and that's how reputation builds. On top of that, when I was doing research, your communications department is doing a great job, on the website, on social media platforms, highlighting students, highlighting the bond, highlighting the great things going on with staff. I think that's important for reputation. And we have to tell the narrative of what Waterford Community Schools is all about, because somebody else will. And when you're in the work and you know what you're doing, highlighting those things is very important. And I'd be excited to do that as your superintendent.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So if you would please, tell us about a challenge you've experienced in bringing a diverse group of people to consensus on a difficult issue. And if you would please, how do you provide leadership and what was the outcome? Could you, bring the microphone?
Bring it up.
Please,
Okay.
please.
Perfect. Sorry. Sir, sorry about that. Okay, perfect. All right. So diversity is something I embrace, diverse viewpoints. In a district of this size or in any size, you're going to have multiple, is this good? Okay. Everybody hear me? Okay. Multiple perspectives, point of views, agendas, what is important to people. So I've always been good at being a good listener, regardless if it's something I don't agree with or don't value. You have to listen to people, and you have to value their opinion, and you move forward together. Even if the answer may be something they don't agree with, which I've had many situations like that, is they've been heard, and usually you have their support after that. So that's important when bringing a diverse group of people to a difficult issue. I talked about the master property planning a little bit. This pops into my head when I think about bringing a diverse group of people together on a difficult issue. We brought about 60 stakeholders together, including students, parents, staff from the district, all different levels. Talk about a diverse group of perspectives, a diverse group of needs on a difficult issue. When people are thinking, what are you gonna close schools? What are you gonna add on here? What do you do? Right? They come in a little bit antsy about that. Are you gonna redistrict? That's a big topic. So when you do that, listening and giving them the avenue to provide feedback and we're building that trust with the community. Our leadership team's building trust, where here's the enrollment data. Here's what we're looking like 5 years down the line. Here's how things are looking. Here's our facility usage percentage in each building. We're doing good. We're okay. We have some room for growth. Our enrollment's going down a little bit, but not too bad. So it was like a reassurance. And then giving them the opportunity to give feedback and share their voice was very important. There was one example that sticks out in my head. A committee member, a parent, raised their hand and was unhappy with the dual enrollment process that their son maybe had experienced. And I oversee that process in the secondary lane now. So I listened. Afterwards, I went up to her and engaged her in a conversation. Said, hey, can you tell me more about that? And then I went back to my team, asked them some questions, and then I got back with her and reached out to her and said, here, thank you for your feedback. You're right. We fixed this, and this. And tell your son, thank you for providing that feedback, because now we can make it better for others. So to me, that's the most important. Be a good listener, value others' opinions, and move forward together.
Great, thanks. Sorry. All right, how do you maintain visibility and accessibility for staff, parents, and community groups?
All right, I got to put the timer on here because this one excites me a lot. This question excites me because visibility and accessibility is what I'm all about. You have to be. In any role I was in as a teacher, a principal, assistant superintendent, if I was able to be your superintendent, that is going to be a top priority because people need to see you in action, get to know who you are, to build trust, to know where your values lie, because difficult issues are going to come up. And situations are going to come up where we're going to have to problem solve together, and it's not going to be easy. But when you build that team and that camaraderie and that pride, those things are manageable. and you can move together, move together. I use the example at my 7 years at Adams High School because it's really fresh to me. And that was a staple of my success. I feel and I hear from community members quite a bit now that I'm gone, that I left a legacy of that I left a legacy of culture and climate, that the kids miss me because I care, and I was always around, and I was always connecting. And I always go to the mentality, I don't have to work that soccer game, or I don't have to go to that band concert, I don't have to go to the robotics competition. I get to go. And then when I'm there, I'm going to connect with parents, connect with kids, and that's their thing. They're excited to be there. And for me, it's another event or another thing, but to them, that's their world. And so making them feel that and making them see that I value that as their superintendent, or as that person supporting them, was very important to me, and a key to my success. Now in the curriculum department, the teaching and learning department, I was new there this year, and walking in we had 2 new assistant superintendents, so it was a fresh start, kind of, and we have a lot of people. So again, I went back to my roots of I got to build relationships and trust. These people don't know what I'm about. They know what I'm about because I was in the same district, but they only heard about me. They didn't really know. So I had to take the time to build those relationships and trust before we could do anything else. Community members and parents, it's being visible, it's being accessible, it's being at events, it's talking, it's providing those opportunities for them to come talk with me, provide their input and feedback. It's exhausting at times, obviously, in a large district, but you have to give the time for people, for students. My favorite thing is a student advisory board. When I was a principal, and now our superintendent has a superintendent advisory board. Students, tell us what's going on. What do you like? What do you want to see improved? So critical to moving forward with voice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Share an experience that illustrates your commitment and capacity to providing an inclusive and responsive environment for all students and staff, while also ensuring a transparent decision-making process.
Yes, this is such an important aspect. It's essential to building trust, right? You have to make people feel like they can come and tell you, and you're going to listen, and you're going to be responsive, that you're not just going to brush it off and then never follow up. I think follow-up is critical here, making sure that's, and this goes with everybody, students, staff, and community members. To me, those 3 things kind of go hand in hand all the time. You're going to hear me, you're going to probably get sick of me saying those words, but to me that's important. And I'm going to use an example that we're going through right now. Students, parents this year, we got some feedback from students, parents, and staff members about our fully virtual programming. You know, we did some shifting in the last couple of years from going to a fully virtual campus to now it's in our high schools. We're kind of doing it that way. But there's been some conflicts. There's been some service issues, and parents have expressed their concern, students are expressing it, and then the staff members in the building are expressing it. So it was loud and clear. So I got a committee together of a diverse group of people that were kind of hands-on with that, parents that were involved, students in the virtual program, staff, administrators. We got a committee together to evaluate what is going on, what are the issues, what are the pinch points, what do we need to improve, like what's going on. So that was the first. Next is, okay, what do we want to do going forward, right? So we broke off into committees, they broke off into committees, and they started researching what are some options for fully virtual education, right? We did it this way, we're doing it this way, and then what else is there? So that was huge. Then they went off and researched, got data, called people they needed to call, got the numbers, started doing the financial aspect of it, started doing what the service model is, and then how could we pull it off? So this committee was probably 8 meetings we had, very awesome, powerful meetings of people in that room that were very talented. And they came up with a solution. Next year, we're going to move to utilizing the Oakland Schools partnership through VLAC, which I believe you guys do as well. We actually used your application as an example. We reached out to other districts around Waterford, Bloomfield, Waterford, and we used your application process as an example to create ours. So now, on top of that, it was communication. So now we came up with this, we presented to the board, we presented to the cabinet. It made sense in all the different aspects of service model. The biggest thing was what's going to be best for the students who want a fully virtual education. That was number 1 priority. But we communicated with the counselors, with the administrators, with the parents and the kids who are in a fully virtual, saying, here's the process going forward. We had a Zoom meeting with them. We brought in the director from VLAC to kind of talk about their perspective, and then we created a timeline and a process of how we're going to do that next year. And to me, it was transparent. We got a lot of stakeholder input, and it's proving to be a nice move in the right direction.
How do you decide when it's appropriate to involve others, such as teachers, other administrators, students, parents, or the board in your decision-making process?
I would say the majority of the time, I'm very dependent on stakeholder input when making decisions that impact a large group. But there are times when, we make decisions on a daily, minute, hourly, sometimes minute basis, right? As leaders, as principals, as administrators, we have to make decisions quickly. When it comes to safety and security, to be transparent, and in my experience, that sometimes you can't wait for stakeholder input. You got to put a building in lockdown. You have to, safety's first. And if we have to do that, then the key is communicating in a timely and communicating with transparency of what's going on, because as a parent of myself, you're worried about your kids, right? You're worried about what's going on. So that's key. But sometimes you can't wait to ask the board for their opinion on that. But the board will know what's going on, that's for sure. Larger impact decisions that's going to affect students, staff, community members, the district, you need stakeholder input. You need to get all the voices in the room that are going to help you implement that, help you solve it, and actually are going to be the ones on the ground level working with it. So for me, that's huge. Board policy is going to dictate. Obviously, I will learn about your board policy. I've been involved with two districts and learning their board policy, but how things need to be approved by the board and following that procedure and process with our cabinet team and myself, of course. And the board should know everything that's going on in the district and should have a huge impact on decisions with students, staff, and community members. One example I can share of this year, my chemistry teachers, I have curriculum consultants in science. They wanted to, with the input of students and staff, they wanted to start an organic chemistry course because the feedback was that's a very hard class when they get to college. So they provided the data, they provided the rationale, we presented to the board, it was very positive. And we're running, I think, each high school is running a section next year, just pure implementation of putting it on the schedule card this year. But going through the process of getting board approval, explaining the why, communicating with the community, communicating with the schools, proved, to make it a very good decision-making process.
Considering your past accomplishments, what are some of the reasons for your success? How have you overcome the difficulties you may have encountered?
Okay. Sorry to repeat myself, but relationships to me are number one. I instilled that, I learned that, and I instilled that with my staff, with my students, that relationships matter. They can impact a student's life, a staff member's life, a parent's life for the remainder of their life in a positive or negative way. So I always tried to focus on let's make a positive impact because that could last a lifetime. I'm a little bit passionate and positive. I don't know if it comes across, but I've been told that I have a infectious positivity and passion about what I do. I love to help others. I love to see others be the best version of themselves. It's not about me. If you look me up on social media, you probably won't see many posts about me. It's about students. It's about the district. It's about teachers. It's not about Mr. Cusumano. So I pride myself in that because I think that sends a message to the people that I serve. I think back to the time, my accomplishments and I think of the principal because I walked into a unique situation of being a new principal and a whole new admin team. So the staff was a little on edge, right? And didn't know oh crap, we got a whole new leadership team here. So I had to build relationships. I had to build trust first and foremost. And attending band camp in the summer, connecting with those parents, going to sporting events, practices, and meeting the coaches and the kids and introducing myself. Like, oh, you're the new principal? Like, it was very, the investment in my time, because I was barely home that first 2 years, the investment in my time paid huge dividends on the success of me and that building. I think one of my biggest successes is, one of my favorite books is Lead with the Heart by Coach Krzyzewski from Duke. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but Leading with the Heart, I think I've read that over 20 times. I think I read it every other year if needed to remind me that this is a difficult job. Education is a difficult, hard, but rewarding profession. And I must say, in my humble opinion, the best profession. Sorry for those who are not educators, but that's my humble opinion, because we get the impact, and we have a lasting impact on kids. So for me, showing gratitude and appreciation for others, I believe, are some qualities that help me overcome difficulties, because there are difficult situations in education. But when you have a team around you, you can do anything. You have a team around you that trusts and respects, and they have the same vision and priorities of students first. You can accomplish and get through anything. Point of example, the COVID-19 pandemic, which we all had to go through, right? How did we get through that? Because we had a team around us to figure it out.
What does an effective relationship between the board and superintendent look like? And how do you cultivate such a relationship?
Thank you. Great question, and this is probably one of the most important things that I see starting off as a new superintendent. I'd be the new person coming in, and you guys are not. You guys have been here, some of you longer than others, but this is the community you're in. So building that relationship as a team, we're a team of 8. Is very important to me. I like to think of anywhere I go as I'd like it to be a family feel, because family is very important to me, and we're all in it for probably the same reasons: to help our community, to watch our students grow and succeed and have the possibilities of whatever they desire to do, and make our parents and community members prideful of living in Waterford. So that relationship is imperative. Clear expectations, right? What does the board expect from me? What do I expect from the board? And it goes both ways, right? It's respecting each other. It's respecting the time. It's respecting the process. It's respecting each other. How I will do that, I will get to know all of you individually and together as a group. That's important to me, because if I don't know why you're serving as a board member, you don't know why I'm serving as a superintendent, it's hard to really know what intentions are. So I would spend the time, like I said, I don't care how long it takes me to build relationships with you, and then together as a group. That's important. At our Board of Ed retreat, establishing those norms and how we're going to operate, because we provide the example. You guys, I'm going to say this, and I have this later, but you guys set the example for the community. And from what I've seen on board meetings that I've watched, like I said, I know all of you, but never met you in person, is you set the example of collegiality. And we might not always agree, and you can disagree, but at the end, there's a vote, and whatever gets passed, we're all on the same page. We're all going to move forward together, and we're doing it for the kids. So that to me is very important. And open lines of communication. I'll be accessible all the time. Obviously, family is important to me, so if obviously I expect that respect, but I will be available on my phone to call me, text me, email me, meet with me, whatever it is that is needed to make this happen. So I think respect is huge, respecting each other, and I said varying opinions are going to happen. It should happen. We all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different beliefs, and it's okay, and that's actually better, because that's how you move things forward. So like I said, I'm very excited about Waterford, because I think you guys are student-focused. I know you guys are student-focused. I see how the board treats each other with administration, with your staff, with your students, and it appears, without knowing, really getting inside of that, you're invested in this community. And I would love to build that, bring my expertise to that, bring my personality to that. but I would do a lot of listening and learning to start.
Please tell us about your experience with school finance and how you develop budgets that gain broad support.
Okay, school finance, so important, right, to the sustainability of the district and managing a multi-million-dollar budget, $125 roughly million-dollar budget, and making sure the district has the funds necessary to continue all the programming for kids. That is so important for the sustainability of the district. The key to me, and in my experiences as a building principal, as an assistant superintendent, and thinking of a superintendent, is it's just a larger pot of money. You know, in the building, you get a smaller portion of that pot, but you have priorities, you have needs, and you prioritize. And usually, in my experience, you use a strategic plan to do that. You use what are our goals for the district, what are our MyKIP goals, where are we going, and where does that money need to go to support teachers and support kids. So to me, that's very important to prioritize those things. An example I can think about, and school finance, obviously, as you guys know, is a complicated thing, right? Because they don't tell you how much money you're going to get. It's kind of a guessing game. You have to plan for multiple scenarios. You hope you get the full foundation allowance. You hope you get the grants that you're counting on, but things change by the minute nowadays for some, in the legislation and the federal and the government. So you have to be in touch with that, and I think that's important. I would work closely with, I am not an expert, my wife's an accountant, but I am not. But the business office, our assistant super business and operations, you have experts in that field that have systems and processes that I would learn, because they're probably similar to what I'm used to, but I'd have to learn what is it here and evaluate how are we doing that? How are we budgeting here in Waterford Community Schools? How are we ensuring that we're going to have a balanced budget and the revenues coming in and the expenditures? That's important, to be a team with that. And then being transparent with the board, being transparent with the community on here's the money coming in, here's the money going out, here's the money going out, here's the priorities, here's where the majority of the money's going, here's why, and it's just being fully transparent when those things come up. The biggest thing for me coming in, and as I do my research, is making sure we are getting our full foundation allowance, making sure the 18 mil non-homestead tax levy is communicated with the community of how important that is, so we can get our $9,608 per student, to be exact. But that's important to make sure that that's continuing, because without that, we're going to be in trouble. Making sure to look at what grants you guys are utilizing for CTE, for Title I, for at-risk. I know the ESSER monies are falling off. We're dealing with that as well. And it's a challenge because you created things with that money, and now you have to figure out how to do it without it. So that's important to know where we stand with that. And let me tell you, I'm extremely impressed with the work you guys have done with your budget. Having a 13+ fund balance. The majority of the budget goes towards teaching and learning and human capital, right? The staff, the people. And you're utilizing the bond and you're utilizing grants, and it's very impressive, even when you're dealing with declining enrollment that everyone's dealing with in the county and the state because of low birth rates, right? And some other factors. But it's just impressive that you continue to work and figure that out while providing programming for all kids. And to me, that it was a point of pride that I was like, that's what excites me to come to here and want to be your superintendent and continue that. And so good work to you guys. And I would help, and I would bring my expertise and my experience and learn from that.
Thank you. So how do you recruit, develop, and lead a management team? If you would, please give us an example of how you've done this in the past.
Yes. You're good? Okay, all right, making sure. It's like right here. So a management team is very important to the success of the organization because leadership, right? Leadership is paramount in my eyes, in my experience, to the success of the organization, because everyone is looking for leadership. Everyone's looking for direction. And so if you have a good management team, you have good leadership, things are going to most likely go in the right direction. It's investing in human capital, which is 80 to 90% of where our budget goes is to people. Because without people, education is a people business, and those are the most important, that's the most important investment. So to me, I'll give an example. I told you, I mentioned it, that when I got to Adams as a first-year principal, both assistant principals left to go be principals. So, and that was the week before school started. So I had to recruit pretty quickly, and I had to be patient and kind of take the weight of being a first-year principal in that building that needed some love, tender love and care, while also taking my time to cast a wide net and look at all candidates, because it's, if you rush into something and you make a rush decision, that might not be the best possible outcome. So I give that example. I worked with HR. We posted the positions. I just took on I was excited, and I just worked hours. I worked tirelessly to make sure we were ready for the first week of school, and was ready to build relationships and trust. But I thought it was important, and I know it's always important to, when you pick the candidates, you have a diverse panel group to interview, and making sure you have the teachers, the staff, the secretaries, anybody who's going to have interaction with this person and be working with this person, that be in the interview process. To me, that's very important. So going through that process, and then when they have input on selection, it's input. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's my decision as a management team with HR and the superintendent, but they had input. And so to me, that was a successful process. And after that, leading and managing is the next step. That's the most important. So you got the people, you got the qualified person, you're excited. Now they need mentorship. Now they need leadership. Now they need professional development. And you have to invest in that. If you just give them the keys and the walkie-talkie and say go, that usually doesn't go well. So I took the route of being hand in hand with my assistant principals, because we were building a new team, and we did things together. Pretty much the first year and a half, every decision was together. Every action was together to show the staff, the students, and the community that we were together, and that we were making decisions for the right reasons, and we were on the same page. And to me, that was very successful. And I carry that on with me in my curriculum department as we hire people, and to get stakeholder feedback, and then provide the training necessary to be successful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What unique skills or leverage could you bring to this position, and how will Waterford School District be served by this?
Yeah, I have a hard time speaking about myself sometimes. So this question, I need to get up past that and tell you some unique skills I have. And I think my passion for public education, my belief in public education, my experience in public education from teacher to assistant superintendent and every role in between, gives me a lot of unique skills that I've been through, situations I've been through, how to manage and deal with tough situations and people, and really keeping students at the forefront no matter what the situation is. So I bring that to the table. I have tons of mentors in my life that helped me get to where I am today. I did not do this alone. I mentioned my parents, but I owe tons of people a thank you, and I tell them quite often through a text or a phone call or an email. But I have a lot of mentors who are current superintendents that I've kept in contact from 22 years ago, people that were my principals when I was a teacher, or my assistant principal, or anybody. So I have a good network of people that I feel I won't be alone in this position. I will have a group of people I know. I will network with other superintendents around the county and the state, and I think I bring that to the table. I've invested in myself in the last 4 years, because a mentor told me, hey, you're doing a great job, but you need to start investing in yourself. You're spending all your time serving, start investing. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, seek out opportunities to make you a better leader and grow so you don't get stagnant. So I was able to go to the Superintendent's Academy through the Michigan Leadership Institute. What a wonderful experience. I think that was 3 years ago, which started to get me think about, do I want to be a superintendent? Where do I want to be a superintendent? What kind of district do I want to be a superintendent in? And that leads me here today, why I'm here. So, and then last year I was afforded the opportunity to be part of the Gerstacker Fellowship through Saginaw Valley State University. I was nominated and I applied and I got accepted and was with a cohort of wonderful people from across the state of Michigan, from small districts to large districts. It was just an amazing experience, and we got to travel to Finland and Germany to explore their educational programs. And let me tell you, we have a lot to be proud of here in our public school system. You can learn a lot from others, but they can learn a lot from us. And I will say the one thing that in Finland and Germany is how our kids are prepared to be creative and present and work together and are confident. That really stood out they were amazed with our educational system. So, and one thing I tend to do is be a multiplier. It's the coach in me, it's the teacher in me, it's the educator in me that I see others and I see qualities in others and I give them opportunities. To me, my 2 assistant principals at Adams are now principals. To me, that's a sign that I did something right, and I built them, I gave them opportunities, and now they're leading buildings, and I'm proud of that.
Describe how you function and communicate effectively and respectfully to staff and community within the context of varying beliefs, behaviors, and backgrounds.
Yes, there's so many examples of this. This is a non-negotiable to me because you have to communicate effectively and respectfully to get anything accomplished. Even if it's a different belief that you believe in, you have to be respectful. If you're not respectful, you put a wall up right away, and you're never gonna earn the trust or respect or anything of anybody. So, varying beliefs and backgrounds and behaviors, I mean, that's going to happen in any district. This is a large, I've come from very large districts. This is a very nice sized district, but it's still large, of 7,000 roughly students and multiple high schools and multiple middle schools and lots of elementaries. But I think of an example of this with my curriculum team. I have curriculum consultants, and I'm lucky to have curriculum consultants that in math, science, social studies, and English, and there's one from each school, and they teach for part of the day, and then they get release time to work with me on district curriculum initiatives in those areas. And they have varied beliefs and they're coming from their buildings, right, which they have different principles and but creating that systemness and always pointing back to the strategic plan, and always pointing back to what is our district belief? What do we want to do as a district, not as Adams High School, not as Stony Creek, not as Rochester High? What are we doing together? Each of them have their own identity and their own school colors and their own culture, but all students, it's one district. So really, to me, that's important to make sure that's emphasized. And my goal is always to work together, work smarter. The more professionals we have in a room, the more beliefs and people questioning things and people asking why. I always ask why probably 7 times in a meeting. Why? Why do you think that? Why do you think that's going to be better? Why do you? I think that really helps communicate effectively and respectfully is making sure all voices are heard and stakeholders feel valued.
Tell us about a time when you created a work environment in which people wanted to do their best. How did you create that climate and what was the result?
Thank you. This is a great question and an exciting question for me. I better put my timer on because
We have about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And about 3 more questions to get.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
So we'll try and at least get through.
I will try not to perseverate, but this one excites me a lot. So, but I'll keep it brief. Work environment is all about culture and climate. All about culture and climate. How people feel when they walk in, to how they feel valued, how they want to come to work, how they want to come to school. But you have to intentionally do that. You have to intentionally provide that. It's not just doesn't just happen by showing up. You have to make the environment safe. You have to make it feel fun. You have to make it an enjoyable place. You do that by building relationships. You do that by caring about people, asking about them as people. You know, how you doing? How was your weekend? How was your son's soccer game, right? When you learn about people, those are the connections you can make of how you create that culture and climate. I think about my times, I'm going to keep this, I'm thinking of something here. At Adams, I feel that the culture and climate, it was my job when I got there. It was high academic achieving, very good academics, but it was the culture and climate was struggling a little bit because the whole new admin team, some things happened the year before that caused some friction with the central office to the staff there. I had to kind of mend those together. And I honestly now I question why I was put there, but now I know why. Because I feel like my qualities helped that happen because I built that culture of respect, that culture of teamwork. For students, the same thing. They got to walk in and feel the pride. They, playing music, having school spirit all around the halls, high-fiving students in the hallways, getting in the classrooms, being part of their spirit weeks, being involved in homecoming, and I can go on and on. But that is what makes a work environment, is the culture and climate and those relationships that you build.
Describe your experience as an educational advocate at the local, state, or national levels.
Yes, this is very important as a superintendent. Obviously, I don't have a seat at the table as not a superintendent right now. I'm not a current superintendent, but our superintendent in our district, I watch and he shares and he includes us in that process of knowing what's going on with the state, the local, and the government, and knowing what legislation is happening. Our cabinet team is really well aware. It would be my job as superintendent to be that advocate, to be that chief ambassador, like I said, to go make connections with the people that are going to make decisions that are going to impact us, that are going to impact public education. So I will be involved with the superintendent's network in Oakland County. I will be on, I'll get involved in the MASA, which is the Superintendent's Association. So that way I'm not alone. Every public school superintendent will be dealing with the same things coming out of legislation. But local is important to involve them in the school district, making those connections with the supervisor of the townships and making sure, because a good school district makes a good community. People move into a community because of the school district. And you want to continue that relationship, and you want them to see all the good work we're doing so they can share and they can advocate.
Tell us how you have used your knowledge of student learning and educational research to guide curriculum development and increase student achievement.
Thank you. This is my last 22 years, right, as a teacher, assistant principal. I've been an instructional leader. And when you're an instructional leader, you have to stay in touch with what are best practices. Names change, in the 22 years, names have changed, project-based learning, deep learning, Marzano strategies, best instructional strategy. I could go on the list of things that, visible thinking that we've been, deep learning. It doesn't matter what the name is. What matters most is monitoring the impact, right? Monitoring the impact of those instructional strategies that teachers are utilizing in the classroom. Is our students achieving because of those? And when you can get to that point where you're, okay, we're going to do this, but then how are we going to monitor it? And then how are we going to make sure we know what the impact size is? To me, that's where you really get into the instructional development there. And then also curriculum development. Right now, that's one of my main job function, is making sure that our curriculum is aligned vertically, our scope and sequence is aligned, the standards are taught where they need to be taught. That's important because that could lead to student achievement on the PSAT, SAT, on the iReady, on the MEP. But we want to set up our kids for success, so making sure that's aligned is very important. And I'll use one example. I'm very proud of our middle schools and high schools right now because they came together as a team. Like many other districts in the state, our math SAT scores declined. And so we dove into the data, and having a data-driven decision-making process is key. Data is not scary. Data tells you a story, and you react to it. And you celebrate the successes, you keep doing those good things, and you work on the things that need improvement. And they work together as a team, say, what can we do for all of our kids to help them progress from 9th grade PSAT to 10th to 11th, and then when they take it in 11th grade, how we can set them up for success. So that's just one example of how we are trying to increase student achievement.
All right, we have about 3 minutes, so you can.
Oh, look at that.
Answer the last question. Excuse me, my voice started to go. Well, we do appreciate your interest in becoming our next superintendent. Do you have anything additional to share that we haven't talked about?
Yes. Yeah, in my resume and today in the questions, I really didn't get to articulate couple things that I want to share. Thank you for this opportunity. I know this is a time-consuming and a lot of energy is taken to pick your superintendent. It's such an important decision, so thank you. But family is very important to me. I need to share that because I talked to you about my parents and brother, but my wife and my 2 children. My 2 children are in the public school system. They're products of it. They are excelling because of it. My daughter's a senior at Adams, and my son's a sophomore. And last night, we actually were at senior night for my daughter, which was a very memorable moment. When I think about academics is one part of it, the extracurriculars, the clubs, the athletics, those are the things we're going to probably remember as a family. And so that's what excites me. And honestly, I'm grounded by my family, and I make every decision as if it's my family. I think of my kids. I think of how I would want to be communicated with as a parent of a school district. So I need to share that. And timing is not always ideal, and timing has not always been ideal for me in my career when things come available. And I was interested in this in the fall, but I just started my position as assistant superintendent, and I have a hard time not finishing what I start. And so I had to kind of sit that out, but things happen for a reason, I feel, and I'm here. And so I'm very excited about it. Longevity is very important to me. If you look on my resume, I spent 10 great years in Utica, and I'm in my 13th year in Rochester. I don't like to move around, and because I know to make a big impact, you need to invest the time. And I hope to finish my third of my career, my last third of my career here in Waterford. This is not a stepping stone for me. This is something I want to end my wonderful career leading and inspiring others.
All right, well, thank you for that. We do appreciate your interest in our superintendent position. The board is interviewing a number of candidates, and we will contact you if you're selected as a finalist. Thank you so much for coming. We really enjoyed meeting with you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my pleasure. So nice to meet you in person. Thank you very much, yeah. Nice to meet you in person, yeah. Thank you, nice to meet you in person.
Great to meet
Nice
you
to
in
meet you in
person.
person. All right. Oh, geez, I got Falcon gear still.
Still doing music at
Jim Furden?
Yeah.
No, he left.
retired?
Yeah. But I worked with him for 4 years. So.
Members, if you could please fill out your feedback
band
form.
camp
Yeah.
Columbia.
Yeah, they still do it there.
That would be
Yeah,
wonderful.
nice meeting you guys. Thank you.